either live by the gun or you die by the sword.
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. I'm Nicho.
And I'm Chris.
And today we are reviewing our first of the only two Christmas movies we're doing. The other one's going to be a mic review of this year. And that we will try and rekindle the Christmas spirit with 2004's The Polar Express.
A classic.
Yes.
One that I know you are not as big a fan of, or at least weren't. But I watched from the year it came out every single year for Christmas, and I don't really like this movie.
Came out in 2004, which, where was I at? I would have just moved back to the States that year.
It came out, I was...
or I had been in the States a year at that point.
For 2004, I would have been just the tiniest bit too old for this. But I liked kiddie films as a kid. I still like kiddie films. And so my mom saw this as the opportunity for us to have like a family Christmas film that she also liked, because we've discussed how my taste in movies and my mother's do not line up. That applies to Christmas films as well. So like this was kind of the one thing that like no one really argued if it got put on. And so it was, and like all of my cousins were much younger, so it was an easy one to put on. Everyone was happy, and we were all fairly entertained watching it. 2004,
I would have been entering 8th grade, so American middle school, and my brothers would have been in elementary. I think we did see this in theaters.
Yeah, I don't remember we saw this in theaters, but it did come out on DVD almost like right away. Because for the Christmas season, of course.
Yeah, this was the era of releasing DVD pretty quickly after theaters.
And this was one of the ones that, like, I think we got gifted this one for Christmas that same year. So, like, it was very quickly introduced into everybody's household.
The best way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, for those unfamiliar, The Polar Express is about a young boy on the edge of losing his Christmas spirit when a train traveling to the North Pole appears in front of his
like it just
house.
Like straight up just shows up.
Yep.
It's not like he lives next to the train tracks. The magic of the Polar Express is that it goes where it is needed.
Yep. And so the Polar Express is directed by Robert Zemeckis, based on the book of the same name by Chris Van Allsburg, and screenplay by Zemeckis and William Broyles Jr.
Yep.
It stars Tom Hanks.
Of course it does.
Daryl Sabara. Nona Gay.
Yep.
And Chantel Valdiviso.
Sure.
Probably butchered that.
You're all very aware of who Tom Hanks is.
Yeah, and by extension, you are familiar who Zemeckis is, because he was also the writer and director for Back to the Future.
Of course.
He was the director of Forrest Gump, Contact, Castaway, and the Jim Carrey's version, or Jim Carrey iteration of A Christmas Carol.
Which honestly is a really good iteration of A Christmas Carol.
And Disney's most recent Pinocchio, which weirdly ties into what's coming out on Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
So expect that
spotlight.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, and like when this came out, it was like, I remember them tying the director back to all of his previous works that people loved, and of course Tom Hanks' name. Despite the fact that while Tom Hanks is a great actor, I would not immediately put him as a child-approved actor. By this point in history, Tom Hanks had earned the, like, stamp of, like, oh, he's in a family movie, it's probably fine.
Well, as for someone who grew up watching You've Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle, Tom Hanks was a family name for me, and big, of course.
Oh, yeah, no, like, it wasn't that you didn't know who Tom Hanks was, it just wasn't like my parents were immediately gonna be like, Tom Hanks, you can watch that movie. It was more of we'd like to see it first and decide. Because he had some humor that my father deemed not appropriate.
I don't think my parents were ever like that with me and Tom Hanks.
I noticed.
As everyone knows from my childhood history of watching movies.
We weren't super strict, but by this point in history, like, Tom Hanks, A Christmas Film, based off of a book that, like, my family had been reading for Christmas for ages, this was immediately going to be in our house collection, and we knew it.
Okay. As for Broyles, they wrote the screenplay for Castaway, Apollo 13, Jarhead, and was one of the screenwriters for Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
A good selection, a little different than this film.
Yeah. As for Van Allsburg, I did not realize that he wrote Jumanji, or that Jumanji was based off a book. Same with Zathura.
Yes.
Yeah.
The book is good. The movie is also good. They're equal. Don't have to read them.
And I have not read the book for Polar Express either. So.
I have read it extensively, and I will be making comments on how much they managed to add to this film.
Okay. Tom Hanks is pretty well known by name. For those unfamiliar, he did star in classics such as Toy Story, You've Got Mail, The Burbs, Big, and the list goes on and on and on. Tom Hanks has been a big name for a very, very long time.
At this point, if you don't know who Tom Hanks is, where have you been living? I have questions about your life.
Yeah. As for Daryl Sabara, he is probably more recognized for his role as Junie Cortez in the Spy Kids series.
Yes, I think that is probably where most people actually know him. I don't know if people know the name, though. They know the face.
Yeah, he's the voice of Hero Kid.
Yes.
Gay is known less, but she was Z in The Matrix, Reloaded, and Revolutions. Mm-hmm. She was Belinda Ollie in the movie Ollie. And she was also in Triple X State of the Union, which I have not seen still.
I have. It's delightful, and that's where I know her.
Yeah. As for Baldeviso, she's not really been in much, but she was Elf #1 in Chris's favorite, The Santa Claus 3.
And yes, I'm aware more Santa Claus movies are coming out this year. I'm so thrilled.
I think it's a TV series.
I will not be watching it.
Neither will I. I've lost all interest in that movie outside of the first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand completely.
Which Hanks brought the project to Zemkis and was planning on only being the conductor while the characters were they're supposed to be like a memory of real life, as he tried to put it.
Yes. There is a lot of interpretation that happens in this film, despite it being a child's film.
Yeah.
And it does lead to some confusion. But also, like, no one cares.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place. But Zemkis brought the movie to Pam Rolson of Sony Imageworks, known for their CGI, because he wanted to make this a full CGI movie. Fun fact, Sony Imageworks did the CGI on the Nicolas Cage flick Guarding Tess.
Very good. And honestly, when this came out, the CGI, while a little rough, was praised. Mm-hmm. It looked good. There are still some scenes that look good. But be prepared to realize that this is a Christmas CGI-based movie when you watch it.
It's rough.
Guard your eyes. Maybe pick the smaller of the two TVs if you have that option.
Yes. I do want to acknowledge our sources for this episode, which is just the commentary and featurettes from the DVD.
Always a delight.
Not a whole lot. Yeah, but
and I have the original book.
Yes, which I could have borrowed, but
I would have had to find it. It is in a box somewhere. I am a book hoarder, and this book is so Christmas specific to me that it's not even on my standard bookshelves with the hundreds of other books I own. Yeah. It is legitimately in a Christmas decoration box somewhere, and I don't know where it is.
I feel that. We've got a couple Christmas books like that to ourselves.
Yeah, and like it's a good book.
Yeah.
A little background knowledge based from the book, because honestly, most of this movie is completely made up for the movie. The book is a beautiful watercolor style illustrated book about a train that comes to pick up a little boy so that he can go meet Santa. It's not really about losing your Christmas spirit. It's about meeting Santa.
Yeah.
Most of the book is just pretty pictures. There's like a little couple sentences per page. Sometimes they're a little longer. It's 32 whole pages. A lot of those pages are pictures.
Yes.
Like, most of this is just pictures of a pretty train at Christmas. It is beautiful, and I highly recommend it if you are one of those people like me who see the children and give them books, despite what they've asked for. All of the children of our friends, be prepared. They are getting books for every holiday.
I still haven't figured out what I'm getting, though.
A book.
A book. Get...
For Halloween, they got a book. For Christmas, they're getting books. They're going to get a toy, too, because I'm not a cruel auntie. But they are getting books. So, like, for the most part, this book is beautiful. It makes a wonderful Christmas gift. 98% of this movie has nothing to do with this book. And almost all of it.
I get it, though. I mean,
I do too. There is not enough substance in this book.
Exactly. And that's the thing with, like, all kids' books is, like, you have to kind of spread it out a little bit.
And especially this one where, like, not only is it just a Christmas story, it is mostly a Christmas story for kids to flip through around Christmas time. It's not really a bedtime story like Goodnight Moon. It's not really a life lesson book like Stella Luna. It is literally just, look how pretty Christmas.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously we had to add stuff, and I'm not mad about what they added. I thought they did a great job. I will complain a little bit, because once we get to the scenes. But for the most part, I liked the styling of adding that they did for this. I thought a lot of it was really cute, fit in with the overall vibe of the book. There's only a handful of spots that I have questions.
Okay.
And complaints.
Well, before I get into that, I do want to talk about a little bit more about the book and Van Allsburg's inspiration. Particularly inspired by living in the country in Michigan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He drew as a kid, but ended up becoming a sculptor in college, but became an illustrator and writer after being encouraged by his wife and wanting to do something creative while it was too cold to sculpt in his art studio.
Yeah, and I mean, his work is beautiful.
Yep, and the vision of the Polar Express came to from a mind vision he had of a all-powerful train from a forgotten memory.
Which fits right in with how the movie interpreted this.
Yep.
So, I'm happy.
And on top of that, it was something that he believed in what he saw, even if no one else did.
Yes, and, like, while the book doesn't lean real hard into the whole, like, you must have faith in Christmas for it to be real, like the movie does, there is a lot of, like, faith and belief is what makes Christmas magical.
Yep.
That is the whole point of this lesson.
And, before we get into too much as well, this movie was the first fully mocapped movie.
Yes.
Or for those who don't know, motion captured.
It's where they make you wear a little suit with dots on it, and then they make you into a computer.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, all the characters dressed in their costumes and makeup to be cyber scanned in, which plenty of well-done full animated movies had come before, like Shrek. Shrek was 3 years older than this, but nothing had been done on this scale.
And there are scenes and shots that look really good with this new style, but because we did the whole scanning in thing, there are a lot of scenes that look a little off nowadays.
Yeah.
We've gotten better with the technology, but honestly, it's not movie breaking. So.
Yeah. And it's also interesting looking, and it's a little weird looking back at how, like, less than 20 years ago, CGI was still such an alien concept. Because you hear them talk about, like, we were trying to figure this out. We were trying to understand how this operated and how this could be turned into a movie. And, like,
Yeah. And especially for a Christmas film, like this, at no point was there any delusion this movie would be popular outside of the Christmas season. They put a lot of work into this. It was really impressive how much CGI managed to, like, be improved during this film.
Well, and they also talked about, like, how difficult it was to have all these characters on screen and get the hair to work. So they did a mix of high definition hair for, like, the main cast, and then a lot of rigid hair where they needed to put it.
Yeah. And when this came out, it looked really good. It still looks fairly good. There's only a few spots that I really have any problems.
For as old as it is, it's acceptable.
It is, and, like, again, it's a just for Christmas time film, so I'm not mad at it. I watch current movies that come out in CGI that are significantly worse.
I tried getting Crim's movie club to watch Beowulf.
Good luck.
It was on a spinning wheel, so I did not win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which, if you get a chance, check out Crim's podcast in Discord. It's fun. This month is Edward Scissorhands.
That is a good movie.
Yeah. And before we get into it, Chris, what are we drinking to get us into the holiday spirit?
Hot chocolate.
Yeah, hot chocolate. It's fine. It's fine. Cheers.
You'll make it. Cheers. Swiss Miss.
It's fine.
I'm sorry.
I chose this. So I
was going to say, while you picked the most appropriate drink, and we will get into the song later, don't worry. You're not a chocolate fan, so I was a little surprised that you willingly went in with this.
I couldn't find white chocolate this time.
They don't make it.
They do. It's just harder to find. And hey, I did find a white chocolate, like, you know, those chocolate oranges. I found a white chocolate version this year.
That actually sounds delicious. I love a chocolate orange.
Cracked it and it was gone within like 30 minutes.
As it should be. Yeah, those suckers shouldn't last. Those are the best.
Yeah. So, the Polar Express.
Ah, yes.
We open on the title card and the main theme of the movie.
I love the music to this movie.
We have A Quiet American Street as Tom Hanks narrates himself as a child waiting for Santa's sleigh, which, to be fair, this movie, and we've seen a little bit before with like the first Shrek, where CGI is moving from being this very static type of animation, same with like anime and stuff.
Yeah.
Where we're pulling heavily from cinema to actually make this.
Yes, this is shot like it was traditionally done.
Yeah. And we also realize it's an older setting from the get-go because there's a radiator.
There is a radiator, and also the biggest hint is that the child has a bathrobe.
Yes. And even more so, I'll get into a little bit more of the evidence. This movie is set, I think, sometime between 56 and 57.
Makes sense.
Because of one of the shirts the kid's wearing, the Know-It-All Kid.
Yes.
I also like our main character's like little stash of evidence, which is searching an encyclopedia for the North Pole. There's a giant printed devoid of life printed in it.
I do appreciate that this child has done research to try and back up his belief and or non-belief of Santa Claus.
Yep.
A great, like, logical mind. However, it is the Christmas season and we have no place for logic here.
Nope. Now, as deals with the 3 Christmas romance movies I've watched so far.
Yeah, those rely even more on pure just hopes.
Yeah, which, thank you for getting me into those last year.
You're welcome. It is a deep, dark rabbit hole, and they are just so weird.
They're bad.
They are genuinely bad, but it's like a train wreck. You can't stop looking.
Lindsay Lohan's back.
Good for her.
Falling for Christmas.
You know what? I hope she does well. I loved her back in the day. I'm sure she will continue to succeed.
Supposedly there's a Parent Trap that she's making coming out.
They already trapped the parents, though.
I don't know.
We'll parents see. To trap.
Or she'll be both parents.
That would be hilarious. Oh my god, I would watch that. That would be great.
Or 2 parts of the parents.
No. She is both the dad and the mom.
Well, speaking of parents, also, it's of note that most of our characters don't have real names. Our main character's name is Hero Boy.
Yep.
Parents interrupt his research. And
how dare they?
It's the end of his magic. It's 10:20 and he can't sleep. And then we get a cut to almost 11 o'clock as the house rumbles as the Polar Express arrives.
I love this intro because the Polar Express is, like, there is a, like, magic train thing going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
This train feels, at this moment, like a very real train. It is heavy. It is loud. It is a little bit dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And it is making a fucking racket showing up, as opposed to, like, the traditional magic Christmas stuff, which kind of, like, tinglings into existence. Not the Polar Express. It is here.
Unless it's Santa Claus, where it's a reindeer lands, but he still has to get a ladder out.
Yeah, that is funny, though.
Which, I mean, I like this, too, because we also have, like, the robe ripping, which is a nice touch, because you really forget about that until way later in the movie.
There's a lot of very nice little touches. It's very detailed.
I will say the disbelief on the kid's face is really dumb and rough.
Again, with the motion capture and the turning people into, like, real people turned into computer animation, there are some facial expressions that just didn't quite work, and awe is not one of them.
No, not at all. But we do get cool shots of the train in the mist with the moonlight. I mean,
honestly, it's iconic. They
use this for, I think it was like the cover of the movie, or of the book, and then also the cover of the movie.
They reprint, I do remember that they reprinted the book after the movie came out to have, like, the, like, new version of it on. And I do remember, I think this was it, because the original book had a beautiful watercolor of this shot. So they did use some of the, like, shots and stills from the book in certain parts to, like, you know, loosely tie what we had together.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, this is, like, the iconic shot. This is the cover of the book, but in watercolor. Mm-hmm. It is beautiful. And the music's so pretty.
Yeah. There's a lot of good aspects about this movie.
Definitely.
Because, I mean, again, this is the first time we're really seeing a lot of the CGI, and it's good for something that came out in 2004.
And it's
no Shrek. But...
No, it's no Shrek, but the train looks great.
Yes.
The people are mostly the problem. The train looks amazing.
Which, the conductor just appearing is kind of creepy, but
a little bit
in a weird, like, charming, mysterious way.
See, okay,
a little bit.
I have a theory about this because I now that there are young people instant amongst us, the young children stuff that I normally wouldn't watch during Christmas, despite liking young kiddie things, especially for holidays. I have a select few that I watch every year, and they've been handpicked to be some of the better ones.
Yeah.
And so I am now refinding the garbage ones, because the little ones want garbage. That's what you do when you're little. You watch garbage. There is a creepy aspect to just about all kids' Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
That because of the beautiful rosy tinge of Christmas, is no longer creepy. One of those things being men just appearing. Just showing up.
Yeah.
And again, we know that this man, the conductor, is fine. Because this is a Christmas kids film. However, he does just kind of pop into existence.
Yeah.
He just kind of, there. Surprise! Get on the train.
It kind of reminds me a little bit. There's a shot in Akira Kurosawa's The Idiots.
Yes.
Where Toshiro Mifune's character also involves a train. There's a train that blows steam over, and you just see his silhouette.
And it's creepy.
It is.
But in this, because it's Christmas, it's not creepy, it's magical.
Yeah. Which, like we mentioned, this character's name is Hero Boy. The conductor's name is Conductor. Both mocapped by Tom Hanks. And Hero Boy is voiced by Daryl Sabara.
And 9 times out of 10, Hero Boy looks fine.
Yeah.
They really did they tried hard to make these characters look good.
And there's something that's going to reiterate this entire movie that I really like, too, is he explains that this is the Polar Express. It'll take him to the North Pole to see Santa. And he's given the choice to hop on. It's not like they're kidnapping them.
I do like that, because that adds a layer of... that adds a layer to the moral lesson that this movie/book is trying to teach. And that's important, because, just having the, straightforward, like in Peter Pan, the moral lesson is if you don't believe in fairies, the fairies die. That feels a little manipulative.
I mean, it's the same thing of this. If you don't believe in Christmas, then or if you don't believe in Santa, your Christmas spirit dies.
Yes, and which is why I made the thing. But unlike in Peter Pan, the children are never given the option in Peter Pan to not believe. Like in the old play, and you were just yelled at to believe. Conform or die. Yes! No, it was conform or Twink dies. Tinkerbell dies. And
Twink.
Yeah, that's kind of what she was. But the old version of the play was some kid in the background with a flashlight, and that was Tinkerbell. It wasn't a whole person. It was a little flashlight or a laser pointer. And so they would legit be oh, if you don't believe in Tinkerbell, she's going to die any second now. Believe. And at least with this one, while the lesson is still the same, I appreciate that we have given a softer entrance of, hey, if you want to grow up and be done with the magic of Christmas, that's okay. You can.
Yeah.
You can go back to bed, and you will grow up and be your adult self, and the magic of Christmas will be done. But if you'd like, you can hop on this train.
Yep.
Your choice. Which I like. I like that we are given a choice to go on this trip.
Well, and I also like that there's that moment of hesitation where the train starts taking off, and then our protagonist hops on board.
Yes.
After the conductor's already kind of left him to do his thing.
But also the conductor definitely knew he was already getting on.
Oh, yeah. And the snowman waving because of the wind is a nice little touch.
Yeah, especially because it's not overly oh, the snowman's waving. It's very clearly it's waving in the wind, but also it's kind of magic.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's cute.
See you later. But also, this starts bringing up the weird parts of this movie where how he's on the Polar Express. How do these kids already know the song of the Polar Express?
Because there was homework, I guess.
And our character didn't follow through.
Yeah, it's tisk tisk. Should have gotten the memo.
Yeah. And we get this little bit of kid awkwardness of meeting new people where our hero kid's introduced a hero girl, and Know-It-All is his name. I
do Know-It-All's name is correct. That is accurate. That is what he is.
Hero girl is voiced by Nona Gay and Chantel Valdeviso, which cool for having 2 voice actors. Same with Know-It-All, who is voiced by Eddie Deason and Patrick Pinchak.
Know-It-All boy is obnoxious as all hell.
Yeah, because he just keeps asking questions, and not in like a charming way, like Macaulay Culkin's character in Uncle Buck.
Yeah, no, this is just like straight up like mouth breathing obnoxious.
Yeah, this is a kid who just has nothing else better to do than read, because he informs us that this is a Baldwin 284 33 class steam locomotive built in 1931 by Baldwin Locomotive Works, blah blah blah.
I have no quarrel with him going into heavy detail with the train.
Yeah.
Sure. Especially based that we can assume that this is an older, like, time setting. Trains would have been, like, a thing to be into. Not by everyone. It had been nerdy. But, like, fine. Whatever. It's the fact that this child doesn't seem... He seems to know everything for convenience sake.
Yeah.
Which, like, I don't mind a character knowing everything. I don't mind a know-it-all character. I do mind a character whose sole purpose is to inform the main character about things. And that's kind of what this character is, unfortunately.
Well, and that's the thing. He's not even, like, informing him on important stuff. It's just random, nonsensical bullshit that we don't need to know about, really.
No, and there's other ways for him to have been the know-it-all kid or the awkward, like, science-y kid without, like, just kind of being in the way.
Yeah.
And also his character model is... he's the most upsetting character model out of the whole film.
He is awful.
And, like, I get they were trying to make him look awkward with, like, the big glasses and, like, the hair. But, like, it just doesn't come across. Like, all of the rest of the kids look fairly standard. There's not a whole lot of, like, oh, that's, like, a huge caricature of a thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's pretty plain Jane, standard book kid look.
Yeah.
Except for this random rat-faced kid. Why does he have to have all of the awkward features? Why couldn't he just have had glasses?
He's the one who would be bullied.
He definitely is bullied.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and on top of that, like, all these kids are supposed to be on the verge of losing their Christmas spirit, but none of them, besides, like, the main character and one other character, feel that way.
Yeah, everyone else seems to be having a great time. Like, they do this every year.
Yeah, and maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel bad for Hero Kid then if he's not the one getting to ride the train every Christmas.
Yeah. It's a weird thing that doesn't make sense in the overall scheme of the movie.
Yeah, it's one of those things. We made it up for the movie, and now we gotta roll with it.
Yeah. But they're all distracted by Herpelsheimer, which, for those who don't know, is a Michigan-based department store which operated from 1865 to 1987. Which we find out a little bit later is this movie is this part of the movie, at least, is set in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yes.
Which is a nice nod to Chris Van Allsburg, because that's where he's from.
Yes, so that's cute.
So keeps it local instead of trying to transplant it to, like...
New York.
Yeah, what's the big New York? Macy's.
Yes, but for those who no longer have this is kind of a Macy's-esque style store, where we've got a big window display, and, like, it would have been themed for the season.
Yep. Also, how the inspiration of Nightmare Before Christmas came about was the changing of displays.
Yes, and I have a friend who works in New York doing the changing of displays. It's still a thing in New York. It doesn't seem to be a thing anywhere else, though.
No. I mean, probably small shops, but not like...
Yeah, but, like, I mean, like, he full-on builds a whole thing for their window shops every year. And it's not like, oh, we've put Christmas clothes on the mannequins. It's like a moving thing every year, and it's the whole window shop.
More interesting than, like, months of planning instead of, this is our new shirt.
Yeah, which is kind of ties back to this. It's something that I think as, like, American kids who don't live in New York or at, like, a real big city probably aren't super familiar with, but because of Christmas movies, just like this one, I think everyone kind of gets the vibe.
Yeah.
You kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah, just a bit. And from here, we get a punching of the tickets.
I like the punching of the ticket.
It's interesting because, like, you get a letter. And the thing I like about it is they could have easily made the dots all spaced out, but they're all kind of, like, haphazardly stamped.
Which, okay, I love cosplayers. And right now, the Christmas cosplayers, there's a handful of people who are trying to be the conductor for their Christmas cosplay.
Okay.
And there's a handful who have figured out how to do the punching, and because of how fast he's going, like, it seems like they actually like took the time to try this out before they modeled it in computer, because this is kind of what people's like real life attempts at it have looked like.
Okay.
Where it's not all perfectly spaced, some of them overlap a little bit, but you get the general idea.
Okay. It works.
Yeah, it's cute. I love it.
But we travel to a middle of nowhere, a little rundown house.
Yep.
And
where we get the only person with a name.
Yes, yeah, I'll get to that in just a minute. But I like that the movie establishes between the hero child and the new kid is that the new kid is really given the choice and that he almost completely gives up. Yeah. And it's up to the hero kid to, even though he doesn't believe, he's trying to help other people.
Yeah, which, I mean, cute. Yeah,
which I like the little halt to the stop, and then the conductor's a bit mean, but he's like, okay, well, if he's on, that I understand. Yes. We got a schedule to keep, which this is the only character name, or besides Santa Claus.
Yes, of course.
His name is Billy, and he's also known as Lonely Boy.
That's so fucking sad.
Yeah, which it's a bit rough, but it's fine.
I like that we have a good variety of children. We have one who's clearly bullied every day of his life,
as he should be.
Yeah,
not that I'm actually
do not actually, but this child clearly is bullied every day of his life.
Yeah.
And then we have standard higher upper middle end kid. We have lonely rural kid who probably is failing to believe in Christmas, not necessarily because like this kid is failing because like, oh well, there's all this research showing that there's nothing at the North Pole.
Devoid of life.
Lonely kid probably doesn't get Christmas gifts.
No.
That's probably why he doesn't believe in Santa anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he even goes to sit on a different train than everyone else.
Yeah, because he's by himself.
Or a different car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a good variety of kids on this. I like that. I like that it's not just all one, like, oh, everyone doubts it because everyone knows about the North Pole. We've got a good variety happening here.
Yeah. And we get our kind of first, there's only a couple songs in this movie.
There is. They're all very memorable, though.
Yeah, the first song is Hot Chocolate.
Which we all know, we all love, and we will all sing for the rest of Christmas time.
I will not.
I love this song.
It's fine.
Okay, the reason I love this song is because most choreographed kids movies, especially for Christmas, are kind of boring. Kind of boring with the choreography. They're kind of generic. They're mostly used to introduce characters or places. This is literally just a song about hot chocolate, and we get really cool choreography to go with it.
Yeah.
That's like the whole point of the song. I love it.
It is a nice, and that actually ties into something I want to talk about a little bit later in the movie.
Yes.
Which I think it's a nice tap number, and I like the cool rotating seats, but it's a rather be our guest moment, in my opinion.
It is. However, with Be Our Guest, we are learning that everything is alive. So we're being introduced to like Mrs. Potts, Chip.
The gray stuff. It's the base.
Yes. We learn that this is not just a rundown castle. It is a whole fucking castle in Be Our Guest. Like, we learn that they used to like entertaining. They weren't always this way. Whereas with this song, all we learn is that hot chocolate is hot.
And it's only served hot. And never let it cool.
Nope.
Hot chocolate.
Everybody loves hot chocolate, apparently. Yeah, like, there is no purpose to this song, but it is catchy and the choreography is good. And for a movie that is mostly made up of chunks as opposed to like a flowing story, this is a really memorable spot.
Yeah. Also, in this moment, I noticed that there are drawings on the windows of like faces, which I don't think change the entire movie.
No, they don't.
No.
That's okay, though.
But also, this starts this weird thing of the conductor like just being menacing for no reason and kind of being...
Kind of mean? Yeah.
Not even mean, just like kind of terrifying a little bit.
Yeah, there is a unspoken horror to this film.
Mm-hmm.
That, like...
Oh, yeah.
There is not just in, like, the uncanny valley-ness, which there is some uncanny valley bits, especially with Nerdy Child.
Oh, God. I hate him.
He hits too close to the uncanny valley. It makes just about everyone uncomfortable. But also, yeah, like you said, like, the conductor at times feels aggressive.
aggressive is the right term.
Yeah.
Aggressive and menacing.
He feels menacing, he feels aggressive at times, and then other times he feels really warm and opening. And it's confusing, especially if you're watching this from, like, a kid point of view.
Yep.
So there is a level of fear that underlines all of this Christmas magic. And honestly, while I hate it, I think that's why this movie stands out.
Yeah,
because
just a bit.
Because there is an emotion other than sadness and just pure Christmas joy that you get to feel with this.
It's kind of like in Home Alone with the furnace.
Yeah. Where, like, you need a range of emotions in your movie for it to, like, stick.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just one emotion the whole time, it kind of is boring.
Yeah.
And it's usually what happens with Christmas films because we're too focused on either feeling sad at the beginning and then happy and Christmassy at the end. Having a, like, underlying running fear throughout your Christmas movie, while a strange choice, it kind of makes it better.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, this is horror, this is scary. You could easily miss all of the cues for the scary parts of this film.
Mm-hmm.
But they're there.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh, just the conductor's scary, just the scene. No, we'll talk about it later. There's, like, whole horror scenes coming up that aren't meant to be horror scenes, but they are. They are 100% horror scenes.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. And we'll get into those.
Yes, we will.
Because now it's time to hop cars and lose Hero Girl's ticket.
Yeah, okay. I get why the movie chose to do this. However, this conductor single-handedly picked up all these children.
Yeah.
And has already punched everyone's ticket.
Minus hers.
Minus hers. He picked her up, though. He knows that she has a ticket because he handed it to her.
Yep.
There is no reason for him to be mad.
No.
But, kid logic.
The kid thinks they've messed up.
And she will be just thrown off the side of this train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, the ticket falling and floating along the tracks feels very Forrest Gump-like to me.
Yes. Yeah, I can totally see that.
Which is a very dynamic camera shots. I mean, I know they said they base it on live action, but it's also to kind of show that there's more to this train. There's some dude sleeping under it.
Yes. We will talk more about Random Hobo Man.
Yes.
Soon.
Which, honestly, the ticket is kind of a dumb moment of the movie because...
It is, but, like, it is a Christmas movie. We need, like, pretty scenes, and this is a pretty scene.
Yeah, but, I mean, it also makes it feel like it's done just to show how dynamic the CGI can be.
Oh, no, 100%. That's all it's for.
Yeah.
But it is pretty.
And it also serves as a way to give Hero Boy the courage he needs to push the story on.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, why would they go up on the roof to travel the train?
Okay, they spend a lot of time outside of this train.
Yeah.
For a perfectly functioning train.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. And, like, I guess it's hard to move between cars or something. I don't know.
I have been on many a train. It is not that hard to move between trains. Is it scary? Yes. Like, especially if you are new to trains, or, like, this instance where you have to be completely outside. There's not the little tunnel thing in between each car. Yes, it is scary.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a kid. However, it is more terrifying to be on the fucking roof.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this makes no sense because the Hero Boy goes up to the roof and finds the hobo, and yes, this character's name is Hobo.
Yeah, we have discussed hobos previously on this podcast, and the correctness of the term hobo. But the movie itself chose to name this man Hobo. He doesn't get a name. He is just Hobo.
And he is missing a shotgun.
He really is.
Shout out to our first Halloween.
That was a good movie.
But what is this hobo playing, which I think is an interesting choice?
Yeah, so Hobo is clearly not in the original book. Surprise.
Okay.
In fact, most of these characters are not in the original book.
I know nothing of the book, so...
There's not a lot in this book that is in this movie.
Is the conductor in it?
I believe there is a conductor in it. Does it look like Tom Hanks? No. No, it did not.
Is Hero Boy in the book?
He is, but, like, you really don't care.
Okay.
Like I said, it's mostly pretty pictures.
Okay.
And, like, it's about the journey to the North Pole. I forced you to watch The Snowman.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's similar. Where it's just pretty, there's not a lot of, like, other things going on. You get to the North Pole, you say hi to Santa, you come home. Quick, easy journey. It's pretty the whole way there. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of this extra stuff that this movie puts in, especially if it's got action. That's just not in it.
Well, I mean, you've got to extend a 32-page book to an hour and 40-minute movie.
Yes, which I'm not mad about. I don't hate the extra stuff. I don't hate the hobo character. I think it's kind of fun to have the, like, mystery character who, like, tests your main character's resolve and knowledge. Yeah. Like, fine, that's a standard trope. I don't love that we've just named him Hobo. I feel like we could have done other things there. Maybe given him a real name. Like, John.
I'm fine with, like, the characters just having, like, generic names, too.
Yeah, like, we don't...
But they decided to name him Billy.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm upset. It's because one kid has a name, and, like, nobody else has a name.
I think it's because he's the only kid that they asked their other names to.
Yeah, but we could have bothered to say, hello, my name is Susie.
Yeah, but I think not naming at least, like, the two mains is the best way to, like, for people to project. It's like having a silent protagonist in a video game.
Perfectly fine. Why did we name Billy?
I don't know.
I liked the hobo character introduction. I do think he adds a layer to the Christmas moral story that this movie's trying to go with, especially since it's kind of long for a Christmas kids film. And there is the tie-in to, like, this movie does acknowledge, doesn't do anything with this info, but it does acknowledge that poor people have a different Christmas than not poor people.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything with that knowledge. It's just there, which... I guess good on them for that. So, like, I do appreciate that there is, like, we are openly, like, being like, hey, there's the kid who's not going to get presents, and then there's this guy who doesn't have anywhere to fucking live.
Yeah.
And he lives on the train.
But he's okay with it.
Yeah, like, he's having a good time.
But, real quick, again, what is he playing that we see?
I don't remember.
He's playing a hurdy-gurdy.
I love a hurdy-gurdy. That's right. Too. I have asked many a Christmas for a hurdy-gurdy, and my husband has informed me that it is loud.
They are very expensive, too.
Okay, they are, but I don't want, like, a nice one. I would like an entry-level hurdy-gurdy, please. But, you know, I've been told that I should learn the 8 other instruments we have in the house before I am gifted a hurdy-gurdy.
This is also coming from your husband, who plays a farty slide tube.
He does play a farty slide trumpet. You should call it a farty slide trumpet. It makes him mad.
I'm calling it a farty slide tube, because that makes much more sense for me.
Yes. Well, I will, after this, get onto a long rant of what you can call his instrument. We have an abundance of instruments in our house. I have plenty of things I could learn. I just like the idea of an instrument that you crank, and it constantly makes noises.
Yeah, we both like droning, like old Gaelic and hewling.
There are like 8 other instruments in my house I could learn to play.
Yeah.
There's the flute, there's the trumpet, there's trombone. Like, there's so many options that I have, but none of them are annoying enough for me.
Just go whole ham, get bagpipes.
I've thought about it. Unfortunately, with the arthritis arms, I don't think I can play it.
I should get bagpipes and just harass the sheep.
They would probably keel over and die. You should do it. Be hilarious.
Phil would kill me.
Yes, he would, but it'd be worth it.
But we learned that the hobo calls himself the King of the North Pole and that he owns the train.
Good for him.
And in a way, he's kind of like a fake Santa father figure in this movie.
Okay, so there's a lot of ambiguity stuff that happens in this film where, like, they never really tell you. But when I first watched this film, from the get-go, I was like, that man's Santa.
Yeah.
That man's just Santa.
Kind of.
But he's also not Santa.
Yeah.
Like, the movie doesn't tell you, but it kind of does.
Yeah,
It's left a lot for interpretation.
The movie does have that nice level of, like, interpretation of, like, reading everything.
Exactly, yeah.
Because, I mean, he's very much the seeing is believing, but, again, he's got a red backpack and gloves.
He does seem very Santa Clausy.
Also, one thing I do want to say is, like, Tom Hanks does have a range of voice acting.
Yes, he does.
Up until he needs to be loud or angry, and then you hear the classic Tom Hanks sound.
Yeah, which is fair. Being loud and voice acting is hard.
Mm-hmm. Which also, the hobo doesn't force the kid to make a decision. He's still giving him the options. And that's just going to continue throughout, because he even asks him, do you believe in ghosts? And the kid's like, no, And he just kind of laughs it off of like, but you're still questioning Santa, but you don't believe in ghosts.
Says the ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I like this character a lot. He adds a lot of gray to this film, which honestly, because this is a really piecemeal together movie, gray is good. Gray makes it all blend together.
Yeah. Yeah. And he also serves as a way to add some excitement because he knows the tracks. They have to push on because they're about to enter a flat top tunnel, which only has 1 inch of clearance.
And guess what, child? You are not 1 inch thick.
Nope.
Yet.
Which, good shots and dynamic camera work.
It's exciting. I have fun watching the scene. Is it necessary? No.
No.
But it's fun.
The sharp teeth at the tunnel entrance are a tad cheesy, and...
Yeah, but I like them.
The hobo gets smacked out of existence.
Okay, but again, I like it.
It's that little, like, weird bit of, like, horror that we get a little bit.
Yes, this is the fear. Because, like, we aren't scared for the hobo. Because, again, it's Santa Ghost. Like, he's gonna be fine. But the child legit could die. Yeah. Maybe.
It's, well, we don't even know that about the hobo yet. Like, the moment he disappears, it's like, oh, shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there is, and again, while the alliteration with the icicles looking like teeth is strong, I do think it adds for a kid's film, especially for kids who aren't necessarily going to, like, fully understand, like, 1 inch plus person does not mush. Having it be very visually, like, monster-esque does continue, like we said, the level of fear that just kind of permeates this whole film.
Yeah. But that's not what we should be most scared of.
No.
Should be more scared because we find Hero Girl in charge of driving while Irish Waluigi and Pinball Wario change a light bulb up front.
Yeah. Why are these two men in charge of driving the train?
Well, they should be, but why did they leave a girl in charge?
She's fine.
Or, not. I don't mean a girl, just a child.
She's literally a child.
Yeah.
She's like 8 years old.
Yeah. Also, their names are Smokey and Steamer, and they're voiced by Michael Jeter, who I learned was Mr. Noodle's brother from Mr. Noodle in Elmo's World.
I didn't know that Mr. Noodle had a brother.
Mr. Noodle has an entire family that I didn't know about.
Okay, I stopped nannying, like, right when Elmo's World was a thing. So I missed Mr. Noodle. I know of Mr. Noodle. I did not realize that there was a whole lore based around Mr. Noodle.
There's a Noodle family.
Good for Mr. Noodle.
Yeah. But eventually they're able to stop the train because a herd of caribou are on the track, which pretty dumb screaming match with them.
It is a dumb screaming match. I appreciate that, unlike real trains, this train stopped.
Real quick.
Normal train, if you're lucky, slows down. The thing at the front is to scoosh the dead body off the track.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we didn't murder the caribou.
I would have been fine with it.
It would have been funny. It would have added to the horror of this film.
But it would have taken it in a horror that was too much for a kid's movie.
It would have been too blatantly horror.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Because, yeah, this movie has a G rating. Not even a PG rating.
No, this is G rating. Well, also, there's, like, barely any dialogue for there to be a bad word in there.
Yeah.
This is, like the book, mostly pretty pictures.
Yeah, pretty cinematography.
It is beautiful, though.
Because now we're back on track to the North Pole, which...
The caribou have moved.
Yeah, why didn't they go back into the train? They're just sitting on the front of it because, like, here's the thing, like, they know something's coming up, and they're trying to get it, or they're telling them to slow down, but they're not ever trying to get back in the train because they're like, oh no, Glacier Gulch is there and we can't slow down.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the steepest incline that's ever existed. We can't go through this that fast. And honestly, this moment, and that's what I feel like a lot of the extended shots of this, one, to make the movie longer.
Yeah.
But also, it's just as a way to show what the CGI can do, because this feels like a roller coaster simulator.
Yeah. And, again, the best part of this whole movie, CGI-wise, is the train. So, like, I'll look at the train all freaking day long as I don't have to look at Smarty Pants Kid.
Oh, God, yes.
So, like, I'm glad that child is not in the shot.
Yes.
I will watch the train barrel-nosing it down this mountain all day.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, though, that, like, up until this point, the movie has felt pieced together, but, like, fairly cohesive, and like I haven't been too like, oh, that's kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
Once the train conductors show up, it suddenly hits like a hard like crack for me. Like this is almost a different movie.
Yeah.
Same style, same characters, but like this feels different than what we just were doing.
Oh yeah. Well, and on top of that, like immediately the tracks just end in the middle of a lake and they Tokyo drift across it.
Yes. Okay. I understand being frustrated with the scene. However, the amount of times that I have seen this scene cut together with different music is worth it. The amount of like anime fight music put onto this. The amount of
Deja Vu.
Yes, that specific song. The amount of Tokyo Drift music, the amount of heavy rock that like now that it's especially around Christmas time, it's just like been nonstop and I like it. So for the meme, this scene is worth it.
By the way, because you don't know this, I did watch Tokyo Drift.
I'm so proud of you.
Because I put it in the outline and I'm like, I've mentioned this enough, I need to have watched it at this point.
How did it make you feel? Upset?
There was eye candy.
Yeah, it's both boob and butt. But I mean, it's flat butt, but it's there.
It was fine.
Yeah,
it's a redneck in Tokyo.
Yes, it is.
Well, we'll get to that one at some point.
We will have to do a whole thing about just that movie eventually.
We'll go through the entire Fast franchise at some point.
Mwah, pure gold.
But back to Polar Express. Why this entire movie? Like, why don't they maintain the tracks better? This whole movie is just poor planning and poor child supervision.
I agree with the poor child supervision. The tracks compared to like real country tracks, these at least don't have a tree down on them.
But they know they have to make this trip every year, like...
Oh yeah, no, I don't know why we've chosen to put the tracks underwater.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Why isn't there a bridge?
Because on top of that, the lake begins to crack and they have to get back on the tracks, which...
makes for some really cool looking scenes, but like, yeah, it doesn't make any logical sense.
Yeah, no, it is just so... And how... Because, like, the train makes, like, an entire, like, U-shaped...
Yes.
Skid, like...
Okay, I have thought about that in detail, because they show the train engineers working to right the train and then line up the train with the tracks coming up. As far as I'm aware... Most trains do not operate their two sets of wheels independently of each other.
No.
I'm fairly certain that they are all connected and they all go at the same.
It's like in Battleship when they drifted aircraft or a battleship.
Yes, when they fully on just like drifted a battleship across the ocean. Yeah, that one was more believable to me.
I don't know.
Yeah, the logistics of this train make very little sense to me.
Yeah. No, it's a stupid, but I mean, it's action. It's
cool.
It adds excitement.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is very exciting.
Yeah, because they get back on the tracks eventually, and we return to a cool spiral mountain, I'll admit.
It is cool looking.
But they're back on the roof.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time not in the train.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
And the story about the conductor being saved by something, which... question reality, and like he almost fell off his first day, but he didn't because someone saved him.
Sure, I like that we try and give more question to the ghost hobo Santa. Because
that's right. There's that part where Hero Boy holds him, and then Hobo grabs him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I like the mind play with the whole like, oh, is he really Ghost? Is he Santa? Is he just a random guy?
Yeah,
like that is all fun, especially for a kids film. I mean, it's not deep, it's not very hard, but, like, it's at least entertaining.
Yeah. Which, now we enter the, probably the most horror-esque part of this movie, the, forsaken and abandoned toys for recycling and refurbishing, which...
Yeah. Excuse me? What is this place?
It's a nice nod to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yes, it is a nod to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I have always had a lot of problems with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Clear distrust of, like, different.
Yeah.
Like, why are they all on an island? What if a child wants a pink elephant? surely that is not that horrible.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, like, this one, it almost...
It's creepy, though.
It is. It kind of feels like a little bit of, like, the consequences of, like, consumerism a little bit.
Yeah,
and, like,
I mean...
the early days of, we need to recycle instead of just throwing everything away.
This definitely would have been in that time period, but it's also the time period of, yes, we are aware that that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not our problem. Continue on to Santa Claus.
Yeah, which... The talking Scrooge controlled by the hobo is hella creepy.
Super creepy.
Yeah, which, I don't know. I don't know why this movie has so many horror elements to it. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
And okay, it doesn't make sense. And also, unless you point it out to people, no one, like, openly remembers there being scary things in this movie.
No.
Like, yes, the scene is spooky. I think most people forget the scenes in the movie.
I forgot it was in the movie. I forgot a good chunk of this movie, too, because I haven't watched it since I was in middle school.
Yeah, no. Because this is such a pieced together film, there's whole sections that it's pretty easy to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, there's whole characters that are easy to forget if you're not paying attention.
Know-it-all kid.
Yeah, goodbye, don't need him. But also, like, yeah, even if you do remember, like, this scary scene, it's easy to forget or even overlook the, like, spookiness that is just, like, the whole movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm bitching as someone who loves horror, so I don't know why I'm bitching, but I am.
Well, because it doesn't fit with the rest of the movie is the issue. That's
true, but it is in the whole movie, so, like, good on you for being consistent, I guess.
Yeah.
This specific scene, I will give you, does not fit the rest of the film.
No.
I don't really know why we had to scare the living pee out of everyone with the whole marionettes.
No, not at all.
Marionettes are creepy to begin with. We didn't need this.
Yeah, they're fine.
Okay, we were already questioning whether or not Santa Claus was worth our time. Now he has an entire boxcar full of, like, ghost puppets.
Controlled by the hobo.
Who may or may not be him.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But it's back into the cabin with know-it-all kid not believing in the Tokyo drift, that it was an optical illusion caused by moonlight and atmosphere, which nice
Shut
nod
up,
to
kid.
the kid. It's a nice nod to the Roswell incident. It's kind of funny to throw in, but
no, it is kind of funny to throw in. But I hate this child, so
I do too.
He could just not exist. That'd be fine.
I do too. And so finally, after this, she gets her ticket back. He punches it.
Yeah, and there was no consequences for our actions whatsoever.
Nope. Because now they go into the final car to really meet Loner Kid, who is singing.
Good for him.
Which is really a sad story because obviously he's never had a good Christmas. He's clearly younger than the rest.
Yes.
He has a bad haircut. Obviously not done professionally. It's uneven.
His mom does this at home.
Yeah, it's actually a kind of depressing ass song.
It is. It is. And, like, I'm not mad that the movie attempts to bring light to the fact that not everybody's Christmas is going to get to look the same no matter what they want, or even if they don't want it to look the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're introduced to this sad child, and then we just kind of accept him.
Yeah.
And we're like, you can be friends with us. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Northern Lights are cool.
They are beautiful.
It's well done, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's and we're like an hour into this movie before we're even introduced to this kid. So it's like,
yeah.
Okay, it's trying to give us a reason to really care for him, even though we've ignored him for
I have an idea.
Most of this movie.
So the whole reason that Nerdy Kid is here is because we need a main 3 set.
Yeah.
We can't have just main 2 because then that implies that they have to be together.
Yeah,
even though they're children.
You have to have an anime protagonist set up.
Exactly. Why do we have Nerdy Kid when we could have just replaced him with Sad Child?
Yeah.
Get rid of Nerdy Kid, replace him with Sad Kid. Everyone's happy.
Even Nerdy Kid's like not even a big part of the movie. He's just kind of like that side character that
he could have. He's in it too much though.
I just realized we have Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura.
Yes.
And Rock Lee.
Yeah.
Although Rock Lee is a badass, but
this child is not a badass.
No.
This is Rock Lee's third little brother who never made it through ninja school.
Yeah, something like that. But now we are entering the Arctic Circle, and the North Pole is in sight.
Woohoo!
Then, from the commentary, they mentioned that the North Pole was said to be the size of New York City. And I like this depiction because it's based off of New England mill cities.
Yeah, okay. I also like this a lot because instead of having the, like, Christmas Village-esque style Christmas North Pole town, which is kind of what we've always gotten. We get it in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep.
We see it in all of the claymation Christmas movies, where it's just like a little quaint, usually German for some reason, town in the North Pole.
German, Scandinavian-ish.
Yeah. This one feels like a proper whole-ass city with, like, real residents and not just, like, enslaved elves.
Yeah, it feels like a factory town instead of, like, a quaint village that has some manufacturing in some of the buildings.
Yes. Yeah, this feels like a well-thought-out bit, which is really impressive, but also just unfortunate because we look at it for, like, a whole 10 seconds and then, like, it's gone.
Yeah, well, it's also more distinct than, like, the Santa Claus one, where it's just a giant factory.
Well, in the Santa Claus one, everything feels like candy canes and whimsical and shiny. This one feels more like actually lived in by people who are not children. Yeah,
and we see more of that because the architecture of this is actually kind of done quite well, I thought.
I agree with you.
But we have another song as we enter the North Pole, which I don't even remember. I think it's the same song. It's a Polar Express song or some shit.
Yeah, it's been slightly redone. Honestly, at this point, while the music is pretty, it's not as memorable as the first two songs.
No. And they made it with 5 minutes to spare. The conductor is revealed to have a chrome dome, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that is funny.
Well, and now we're finally told about the first gift of Christmas.
Woohoo! It's so special.
Because this movie has to, like, incrementally tell you, like, oh yeah, you did X, Y, or Z. Now we gotta tell you about this next point. Now we gotta tell you about this point.
Yes.
And it's always just continuing to change the goal of where they're trying to go.
It has to, though, because otherwise this movie would have been over 45 minutes ago.
Yeah. Also, we have another menacing conductor.
That's true.
We'll choose one of you.
Yeah, I thought the present was supposed to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Why are we all now scared?
Well, yeah. But I do also like that he mentions that no one's required to see Santa. Again referencing the loner kid who's doesn't want to see Santa at this point.
Well, Santa's never wanted to see him.
Obviously. Actually, yeah. Santa's the crux of this issue.
Yeah, okay, like I said, we spend more energy than normal in a normal Christmas film at acknowledging that poor people's Christmases don't usually include Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And yet, we do nothing to solve the problem other than show him Santa.
No.
And then does he get the special gift?
No. But I like this moment because, again, it's another moment of choice of the kids have to decide what they want to do, not being forced to sit on Santa's lap.
I do absolutely love that. I think that is great. Mm-hmm. I love that that's a theme throughout the whole film.
Yep. And for some reason, the trolley with our main three fall back to the depot.
Yeah, why not?
The hobo's back, kind of taunting our main character.
Again, ghost Santa hobo.
And honestly, like, once they do get to the depot, like, the kids are walking on the slippery steel parts of the tracks instead of, like, the stone sides of it. And they're
even down the middle, where there's, like, wood and gravel.
Oh, this is in the depot where
inside, yeah.
Yeah, which, I don't know. It's fine.
It's fine.
I like the depot. But
I'm okay with the depot.
I like the elf city that they go through, where, like, everything's too small for them.
Yes,
like,
that is
they can't
very
actually
cute.
go through it. And there's this nice little bit of Loner Boy and Hero Girl just talking about, like, oh, I can hear it over this way. And Hero Boy just kind of blindly following them, and us as an audience also not hearing what Hero Boy's not hearing.
Yes, I do like the detail.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Which they come across very Men in Black style. Elves watching the children with central monitors.
Again, kind of creepy.
Yeah, very CIA feeling, kind of.
Yeah, Big Brother-y.
Yeah, Big Brother-y, that's the right term. Which they mentioned that the last gift is going to Grand Rapids, where the Hero Boy says he's from. No one gives a shit about Loner Kid, which is also where he's from in Grand Island, or Grand Rapids.
Yeah, just he's on the outside part of Grand Rapids. And on top of that, I like how Hero Boy assumes he's the only child in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
That's getting presents from Santa. Not even his own sister, which we don't find out about the sister until after. No, we do see the sister
at the very
on.
beginning. Yeah. She gets put to bed first.
Yeah, that's right. But one thing I do like about the elves, the leader is very Napoleon-esque.
Yeah, I do like him.
He's got the Napoleon hat, but it's got like a little Santa twist.
It's cute.
Yeah. Which I also like that their transportation device is a repurposed mnemonic delivery machine.
Very funny.
But it's now onto the full-on delivery and wrapping facility, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like this part.
Yeah.
It feels completely different than the rest of the movie. It's like too mechanically.
A bit. Yeah, but I mean, it also fits with like it being a machine town a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it being like factory style.
But it's too advanced factory.
Yeah, it's too shiny.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we have re-reached weird horror elements again.
Yeah, well, because we find the last present is going to a lonely boy, but they accidentally activate the package delivery machine.
Yeah. God damn it, guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It is this weird combination of a little bit too futuristic for what they were going in a factory town.
Yeah, and like we've already established not like a hard timeline, but like at least a stylistic point with the train that we've spent a lot of time on, and now we're suddenly in a very robotic setting. Yeah,
which we land in a and it doesn't tie in with what's going to happen next too, because we eventually land in a sack that's going to be shot up to the square, which they also spiral down some like coin thing.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't know what
There's a lot happening. It goes by very fast and none of it matters.
Yeah, because their balloon lifted to the square, which the balloon's a whoopee cushion, which
that's funny.
It's funny, but like for everything else being like super high tech,
or even like kind of time period presentable, like this whole little section really doesn't add a whole lot.
Yeah. Also, randomly know-it-all kid comes from nowhere.
Yeah, again, I would be very happy to never see him again.
I followed you. I wanted to know where you were going. It's like, you weren't there the entire time. How did you hide
How did you get here? The only reason he got there is because they needed him for the final scene.
Yeah. Which we also learn his questioning is because he only received underwear last year.
Maybe that's a sign that you need to clean your butt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just action to extend the movie, because like, we're in the North Pole for like 40 minutes.
Yeah, but we also don't really feel like we're in the North Pole for 40 minutes. Like, the outside town part, the elf city part, that was all good, and we spend too much time inside the mechanics of this factory.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say I like about this point, the elves are dicks.
I do like that the elves are dicks.
Yeah, I like...
They are on a deadline, they have things to do, get out.
Yeah, and like all the kids are like, we weren't supposed to be here, and the elves are like, we knew you were there, you dumb assholes.
Yeah, you really think we just let children die inside our factory? Get out.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
But, yeah, they come in and the conductor's like, cutting it a little kind of close, aren't we? Which, honestly, I say that mockingly, but I this part actually is kind of good writing, because it has a double meaning.
Yes.
He's talking about midnight, but he also knows that the hero boy hasn't decided on whether to believe or not.
Yes. It all works.
Yeah. Which, we get the big show, he still can't hear the bells, the big C is here, and old Santa Claus is coming to town, which, again, he can't see over the elves, which the elves treat him like a rock star or something.
I mean... Cool.
Because he still has to see to believe, as a lone bell falls off the reindeer. Why can't they de-ice the square? There's so much ice.
I don't know. Maybe there's no salt at the North Pole.
Bullshit. But finally, Hero Boy, after taking the bell and tucking down, believes.
Woohoo!
Surprise, Santa is behind him. Nani?
Wah!
Yeah. It's just... The kid's a smooth talker at that point. He's like, I just picked this up to give it to you.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't trying to verify my own doubts and beliefs.
Yeah, which... First gift, so no surprise, first gift is given to Hero Boy.
We all knew it was coming.
Santa is an absolute unit in this movie.
He really is.
Huge. But Hero Boy only asks for the bell.
Aww.
Not even gifts for loner
friends,
kid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, he just wants the bell, which is, I mean, cute. And we tie back into more Christmas symbology with Belle.
Yeah.
Cute. Why not?
Which, he can hear the bell ringing finally, and we finally see the conductor's pocket watch, which I enjoy. I think it's a fun watch.
I do too. I like it.
There's no real time. It's just kind of a feeling and just...
Yeah. Which I like, especially since we've made all this fuss about having a schedule to keep.
Yep. And Santa starts flying off, which I like pull comment because there's no Rudolph, because Rudolph's copyrighted.
Rudolph is copyrighted. That is correct.
Yeah. And Hero Boy is now confident in his belief that this is not a dream, which...
It is.
Cool teleporting of Santa.
Yeah, I like that.
And again, just more cinematic stuff to draw out the movie, show what they could do in CGI.
And it is, again, very pretty.
Yeah.
Fluff, but pretty.
But I love how creepy the elves look, too. They all just look like tired old men.
They are tired old men.
Yeah.
This is the longest day of the year for them.
What if elves, had a reverse Benjamin Button after Christmas?
Where they just finally get to be young again.
Yeah, they look young and they just progressively get older and older as Christmas comes along.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, and now it's time to party with Rocking on Top of the World with Steven Tyler on vocals.
Yeah, I don't love it, but fine, whatever.
He's a weird looking dude and he just looks creepier as an elf. Yeah.
Yeah, also, we've had kind of a stylistic choice with music so far, and this one doesn't quite fit.
No.
It's fine, but you also quickly forget about it.
Yeah, because you see it for 30 seconds and then it moves on because time to head home.
Yeah, we do need to drop everyone off before Santa gets there.
Which we do finally get a clear shot of Know-It-All shirt, which is Jupiter shirt.
Very cool.
Space travel, which the Jupiter rocket was 56, I think. So that's why I think this movie's maybe a little bit later for NASA to make the merch and whatnot.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, which this is the nice little bit of the movie where we finally realize that the conductor punching the letters into the ticket was to start to spell out a word to give their final lessons to all the kids.
Very cute. Again, I love the ticket punching. Very, very cute. Very memorable.
Yep. The heroes is believe. It's what's inside.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
The friends you made along the whole time.
That he's never going to see again.
No.
He's never seeing these children ever again.
Yeah. And
half of them don't even live in the same city as him.
Yeah, as far as we know. Or this is the Polar Express that's only in...
Grand Rapids, Michigan?
Yeah.
Sure.
Small train to cover the entire world.
That's true.
Also, all the kids speak English.
These are just the Midwest kids.
Yes. Actually, I kind of like that idea of there's multiple North Poles to actually handle everything.
That would add, that would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I don't know.
Yeah. And on the train, the hero kids realize he's lost the bell via the hole in his pocket that we forgot about from the beginning of the movie.
It is a good detail.
Yeah, which Lone's kid house, which they finally start dropping kids off. The lonely kid is finally dropped off, but his house is magically decorated and he has the package. He's super happy.
He got something.
Spirit restored.
Hooray.
And it's time for Hero Boy to finally go home, which, he's taking life as it comes. We see the hobo vanish on top, and he wakes up to Christmas in the morning with his robe tearing again because...
It was torn in the dream.
Was it a dream?
Ah.
With the presence of... We see the refurbished marionettes. There is a train. There's trucks.
It's all tied together.
The bell is under the tree, which...
Very cute.
Parents think it's broken. We go with this little narrative at the end of... He always heard the bell, and as the time went on, his sister stopped hearing it, his friends stopped hearing it, but he always believed. And
so cute.
It's a nice closing shot to... it's I like the closing shot of it on the bell at the very end.
I do too. It's very nice.
As the credits roll and the main theme plays with the vocals by Josh Groban.
Who is, of course, our delightful. Josh Groban is amazing. I am very happy.
It's fine. It's a nice song. It's
Yeah.
It's cute.
It's better than the song at the North Pole.
Yeah. And so, Polar Express.
Yes.
I'm curious about your opinion on this.
Okay.
So, they mentioned in the commentary that one of the goals is to make the movie and to take Van Allsburg's artwork and bring it to life. Do you think they accomplished that?
No.
No.
It's pretty. Don't get me wrong. It is a beautiful movie, and the book is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is with the exception of the opening shot of the train,
Mm-hmm.
there's not a whole lot of parallels to the book, which honestly is fine. Like it
doesn't need to be a direct recreation.
No, and it would have been boring and really short. That's why like movies like The Snowman are short and there's no talking and it's all in watercolor and colored pencil.
Yeah.
There is a style to his work and it is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. The CGI is also beautiful and also gorgeous.
At parts.
Yeah, when we're not looking at creepy child. But they are not the same.
No.
Do I think they did a great job? Yes, and I think they took his inspiration and made something that has turned into a Christmas classic.
Yeah.
Of course. I do not think, though, that they are in the same worlds.
Mm-hmm.
They are two different things happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like, the book and the movie are not the same to me, and I will treat them differently.
Okay.
Yeah. Both are good, and I think they did a beautiful job, but it's not like they honored him in art style.
No, like you said, it's not like the Snowman that has its own style. It feels very, by today's standards, generic CGI.
Yeah, and like when it came out, I get it. Like this was fairly advanced for CGI and, especially for a kid's Christmas film.
Yeah.
It hasn't really kept that position as the years have gone on. It still looks pretty good. And I think people rewatch it because of the memories. Yeah,
and honestly, I kind of forgot about this movie until you made the vote to watch it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I thought this movie had kind of been forgotten, but when I was looking at what was showing at the Alamo Draft House while I was at my parents' on holiday, this had multiple showings.
Yeah, and people do like this movie, and people do watch it every year. Our family was one of them. Some hold harder to it than others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Everyone's family's gonna have a different Christmas classic.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this movie is the perfect Christmas movie for me.
No.
I will give it a lot of credit for different parts. This movie just focuses on Santa Claus. There's no extra bits going on. I'm all for that. It's very entertaining. It's piecemealed together, so you can go get popcorn whenever you want. You can open gifts with it in the background. Awesome. But you can also just blankly stare at it for the entire time, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Well...
But it's not, the ideal Christmas movie.
No. And I think part of it is the fact that it is piecemealed and that it has such a heavy emphasis on the horror elements.
It is spooky all the time.
But I think the most interesting part of this movie that I don't feel got explored as heavily is just and this might be just my interpretation, is Hero Boy, it plays on this A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Quite heavily, but in a different way where Hero Boy is Christmas past because he's narrated at the beginning of the movie and at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a tale of what he could potentially become. He could either have become the conductor who's full gung-ho holiday spirit.
Sure.
Or he could become the hobo, which I see the hobo as him still doubting and trying to constantly chase that Christmas spirit that he never gained back after becoming an adult.
Sure. I think this movie, unlike the book, leaves an awful lot of room for guessing as to what certain elements mean. we don't ever really get an explanation on the hobo. We don't really get an explanation on why the conductor is sometimes a dick. We are told that the child never loses his ability to hear the bell, but, like, that doesn't really make sense because everyone eventually grows up and has to become Santa Claus. That's the whole point of Santa. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the Christmas joy, is, like, when you're a child, you get given it, and as an adult, you have to give it. And
maybe it is, the lesson is, if you never stop believing, free gifts.
I'm down for that. Hell yeah. Yeah, like, there's just a lot to be... like, there's a lot of unfinished parts to this movie.
Yeah.
Which is why, for me, it's not a great Christmas film. There's so many others that are much better written, but I see the appeal. It is beautiful. There are parts that stand out really well in your memory throughout the year, and then when Christmas rolls back around, it's pretty easy to be like, what is a children's Christmas film that I don't hate? This one. That's fine. Put it on. Because there's a lot of Christmas films for kids that are garbage. And, like, obnoxious garbage. Not even, like, fun garbage.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad kids movies. Look at anything after the first 3 Land Before Time movies.
Oh, yeah, Jesus. But, like, on top of that, Christmas films have a pretty bad rap anyway. Even adult Christmas films can be pretty bad. And so, like, people remember enjoying this, and so, yeah, it keeps playing. And on top of that, like, it's not leaning too hard in any direction, like, because it's unfinished, kind of. There's really no complaints to be had for it, other than that it's unfinished. Like, you're not gonna find anyone who has issues with the messages in it.
No.
There's no real complaints with the imagery. Yeah, some of it's spooky, but I think most people don't even notice. I think just kids feel spooky about it, and then as an adult, you're like, I watched it as a kid, I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's, I'll get into it in a second.
Sure.
So, what do you rate this movie?
For me, it's a good bad.
Okay.
It's good because there's a lot of good to it. The CGI in certain parts looks beautiful. The work they did with the train looks amazing. I like a lot of the story elements. I like the choices that the kids are given. Like, there's a lot that I do like.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a bad because, like I've said before, there's a lot that's just missing.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel polished, and it hasn't really stood the test of time CG-wise.
Yeah, I give it a bad weird.
That's understandable.
I don't particularly care for this movie. It's fine for what it is, but it just feels unfinished, and there's just so many weird parts about it that just don't fit, other than just
to be there
and to extend the time to make a full movie, and also just as a way to show what they could do with CGI and mocap instead of making a good movie. It feels like it's too heavily focused on the technology and spectacle for spectacle's sake instead of making spectacle with substance.
I totally understand that.
Yeah, like there's good cinematic parts. I like the theme of it and like the wanting to carry on the Christmas spirit.
Sure, yeah.
But it just falls flat.
Oh yeah, no, it really does. There's lots of other movies that are better.
Yeah. So, would you recommend this movie?
I know I just said it was bad, but yeah, I would recommend this movie, especially if you are a family like how, like I know our family is, we put stuff on in the background while we open gifts, and when we have little ones, we usually try and put on a movie like this, so that way, you know, if you miss a part, no one cares. But
no Die Hard for them just yet.
No Die Hard for them just yet. And it's also not, it's not too, like, complicated for them to watch, like White Christmas or you know, Miracle on 34th Street. So, like, I will recommend it. We will probably watch it every year, we're going to continue to watch it. But with that said, if you're an adult and you want Christmas films, and you don't have kids who you need to distract blindly, I'd skip it. Yeah, there's others that are better. It is pretty. The music's pretty. Read the book.
Yeah, I don't recommend this unless you've never seen it before, and it's worth watching because it first CGI movie, our first fully mocap movie. There's some good elements to it, but I can't full-heartedly recommend it.
Yeah,
if you do want to see good recommendations, check out my chiller reviews. I'm doing winter horror ones.
Ooh.
Adult horror movies.
Yeah, ABC puts out Christmas films all year round. And like almost every single minute from between now and Christmas are going to be packed with other Christmas films. Watch one of those.
I will say I would rather watch this over the vast majority of Christmas rom-coms I've seen.
Oh, yeah, no. If your options are rom-com or this.
Yeah.
But if your choices are, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or this, I'd go with Rudolph.
Yeah, there's better options out there.
There's better options, and honestly, there's better versions of the same story.
Yeah.
Where if you're looking for one to, like, rekindle the Christmas spirit, there's other options. If you're looking for a pretty film, there's other options.
Oh, yeah.
And those options don't come with Scary Know-It-All Kid.
He is awful.
He really hurts this film.
Very much so. But anywho, that's been The Good, the Bad, and the Weird.
Thanks for listening.
Peace, and get ready for episode 100 in a couple weeks.
Woohoo!
It's monumental. So, all right. Peace. Happy holidays. Thank you for stopping by this here town of The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. We appreciate your listenership, and if you want more of our takes in your life, feel free to check us out on social media at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, or TGTBTW for short. As well, if we missed a fact, your favorite part of a movie, or just have a suggestion and want to reach out and say howdy, feel free to email us at tgtbtwpodcast@gmail.com. And feel free to join our Discord at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, where we talk about movies, just share random banter here and there. And always, check out our podcasters, streamers, or any other content creator we shout out in our episodes. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Peace.